Well, to find out what was written, we'll need first of all to understand that the term Pesach has no connection whatsoever with the English term Passover. It is a pity that the word Pesach was ever translated as Passover, which is partly responsible for the word being hijacked, which forced its true meaning to become obscure and misunderstood over the centuries. From the same Hebrew word Pesach, we derive an adjective that describes a man who is lame, a piseach. A man who is lame has no use of his legs, which renders him immobile. This gives us a clue concerning what Hashem did on that very first night of Pesach, when the text tells us, Ufasach Adonai al hapetach, meaning, and Pesach Hashem upon the door opening. Far from passing over that door, he actually stood over it as if he had been lame. In other words, he didn't move. He was immobile as a wall of stone, allowing nothing to pass or penetrate through that door.
You cannot pass!
The mashchit, or destroyer, would not be able to get past Hashem to deliver his plague because Hashem was literally guarding and protecting that doorway by becoming immobile upon it or next to it. That is the very essence of what we celebrate each year when our festival of Pesach arrives. Hashem marking each family who was willing to trust him by carrying out what he told them to do, that is, following his commandments with regard to taking the lamb on the 10th day and so on, in order to ensure that their doors would be protected against any agent of death that might come their way. So why did Hashem have to use an angel of death to bring about a celebration of life? The reason is very simple and pure, and it is constant, found throughout the entire Torah. Hashem's protection was afforded only to those who listened to his voice through Moshe. This is why Moshe urges Am Yisrael to choose life instead of death and cling to his Torah. Now, after the Mishkan, or tabernacle, was constructed, described in Shemot chapter 25, Hashem instituted the office of Kohen HaMashiach, and he would inherit that task and act on behalf of Am Yisrael to deliver our memorial Pesach as commanded, so that Hashem could, in turn, draw near to his people and provide protection, just as he did in the days of Moshe. In this way, the story of Hashem's ongoing role as our immobile protector would become memorialized throughout all of our generations. It's also important to note that on that first Pesach, the blood from the seh, or young lamb, was painted on the side posts and top frame of the doorway leading into your homes in which you're going to consume the Pesach in remembrance of your exodus from Mitzrayim. In other words, the blood of the seh was never used in any way that might be construed as a covering for sins. Much later, and within the context of the Mishkan and temple services, the Pesach would be handled much differently, as this Korban of Pesach would now serve as a thank you offering to Hashem for all of the events that had transpired on that very first Pesach night by the hand of Hashem, and also as a memorial for those events.